So I'm going to wrap some bodies today then. Got my MDF templates here that I made up. So with these templates, I don't know if you can see all this muck around here. What I actually did is watered down some wood glue and then just painted the outside once. And then once it was dry, I just gave it a light sand, because MDF tends to be quite soft and you run the risk of your router bearing, if you put too much pressure on it, sinking into the template. Whereas it's now hard, that's never going to happen. This is another good use of Crimson's Dead Blow Hammer. It works as a pretty good burnisher as well. So to wrap my bodies in, I'm going to be using one of these Radian 3 flute things. These are awesome. They just leave such a smooth finish compared to a 2 flute cutter, and it really does make a lot less work of sanding. So these are great. In fact, I'll stick a link to these in the description. So for my routing, with any router, the router itself turns clockwise, and if you look at this, the cutting face turns clockwise, which means in order to get the most efficient cut, you would go around the work anti-clockwise. So it's moving and cutting that way. Now, the problem I have is that there are areas that if I cut anti-clockwise, then I'm essentially cutting into end grain. So if you imagine the grain of the wood here comes in this direction, or here it's in this direction out here, and that's, that happens all the way around. So in order to reduce tear out, because effectively if I'm going anti-clockwise, say here, into end grain, then I'm a lot more likely to get tear out than if I was going the other way. Of course, if I'm going the other way, it's not going to cut as efficiently, because essentially the back of the blade is skimming the work, so it will take longer, but it's a lot less likely to reduce tear out. So I can work out which direction I want to route in by where my end grain would be. So if we imagine here the grain's going out this way, so I want to cut in that direction until I get to here, and then here I want to cut in this direction. Over here I want to cut in this direction. Back here I want to cut in, how well you can see that, in this direction. And that's the same all the way around. So at the back here, so obviously this is all end grain, so I want to go in that direction to there, and in that direction to the middle there. And when I get to these areas, I need to take just tiny passes, and the same as here. I'm most likely to get tear out here because it's literally just flat, so all I'm really cutting here is end grain. So I'll go in this direction, clockwise again. That way I'm really taking off next to nothing on each pass, and I'll just gradually work my way down to the line. And then if I do get any tear out in this direction, hopefully I'll find that out before I get to the final dimension. And if I do, then I'll just finish that off on the spindle sander. So when I'm routing the bodies in, I do it on the workmate. I don't like putting it on the workbench because the workbench is in a corner, which means I've got to clamp it onto the bench, do some routing, unclamp it, turn it around, do some more routing. It just doesn't work that well. Whereas on the workmate, I can get all the way around it, and I've got this little jig here, which is essentially a block of wood on a bit of MDF, and I can stick the work to it, tighten the workmate up, and then it's going to be fixed in place. And that means when I make my final passes, I can route the very bottom, and I haven't got to worry about routing into my workbench. So that's what we're doing. Masking tape. that is my two bodies rode. I don't know if you can see there's the odd little streak down here. That's essentially where I took the template off and plunged further down. But that's okay, that'll just sand out on the spindle sander. They both came out pretty well, didn't get any tear out, which is what I was worried about, especially here and here. But yeah, came out really well. A couple of little burr marks obviously where I just kept going over it, but no, it's good. And my neck planks have been sat there for 3 days, and they haven't moved at all, which is great. So probably another 3 days, and I'll get to work on those. And then this is the guitar I'm working on for my buddy Luke, which I just got a bit more sanding to do, and then I thought I might do a video on staining it. And that's the neck up there.